Everybody to Tales of Praxis, your streaming and analytical article series by With a Terrible Fate, celebrating and studying the storytelling of Bandai Namco's Tales JRPG series. I'm your host, Aaron Suduko, the founder of WithATerribleFate.com, your home for everything to do with studying, analyzing, and appreciating the storytelling of your favorite video games. Sorry to be a couple minutes late to this stream. OBS was not cooperating with me, as sometimes happens. Also, just in case my voice sounds a little wonky to people, I am thankfully not sick, but the weirdest thing happened last night where I don't know if this is a thing that happens to other people. It had never happened to me before, but I had either like a cough or a sneeze that just went off the wrong way, and it like strained a muscle in my throat. So my voice has been a little froggy and scratchy all day. So I apologize in advance for that. Hopefully the microphone setup makes it at least a little bit tolerable. Excited to be diving back into Tales of Zestiria with you all on this 4th of July Eve, I guess you would call it, for those in the States. Hopefully, materially, what that means is if you're in the States, you've been able to enjoy a long weekend. I hope you've been able to have that. And if not, I'm glad to at least be able to spend these few hours of this evening with you. I've had a very, unsurprisingly, very game and tales-filled weekend. I actually just pivoted from the end of Tales of Destiny over here to Tales of Zestiria to dive into the stream, but I've been really enjoying what I think is the last act of Tales of Destiny, and I think I'm on the last dungeon now, so hopefully we'll be wrapping that up shortly, and then we'll have plenty of time to change gears and catch up with some actual writing and publication of articles as opposed to just plowing through playthroughs and replaythroughs of many of the games, which is what I've been focusing on the last couple of months, as viewers will be aware. Tales of Destiny, though, man, I gotta say, it's been really fun to dig into it. I think I'll have a lot to say about it because playing it for the first time as a longtime fan of the Tales series, I really felt like in some ways I was discovering a missing link, tying together a lot of the different things I love and appreciate about the many other games, including, funny enough, basically all of the games that I've been replaying and revisiting over the last couple of months. Like Tales of Destiny, I didn't realize features the Darius emblem mechanic that you run into in Tales of Symphonia, and a lot of its other puzzle-solving mechanics are very similar. It also has, without giving too much away, like a stratified world structure where there's the whole overworld on the ground, but then there ends up being an overworld in the sky. So it's kind of anti-parallel to what happens in Tales of the Abyss with the way you start on the surface there and then end up going underground. And I think you get some interesting themes and conversations with one another between the two games for that reason. And then even thinking about it in relationship to Zestiria, there are very similar kind of character relationships in terms of the way that Saray bonds with these other kind of non-human characters who have elemental alignment in order to give himself certain abilities in battle, as he does with the Seraphim, and Rose now too. Something kind of unexpectedly similar happens in Tales of Destiny with the central dynamic, I guess you could say, between the human characters who are chosen to be wielders of Swordians, these sentient swords who carry within them the consciousness of people from a long ago war that ravaged the world, and who also bear elemental alignment. So I'm telling you, when you sit down and play these games and think about them as a series and not just as the latest JRPG that you're going to play every couple of years, you really get a different appreciation for the various layers of the storytelling that's going on there. So with that in mind, let's dive into some more of Zestiria. On the last stream, we took a bit of a break from the main story to explore some side quest content. I'm really glad we did. We got some more insight into previous shepherds through the iris gems that we stumbled across. We learned a bit more about the sparrow feathers and hidden bones and Rose's relationship growing up and basically being raised by them and becoming their leader. We learned more about Alicia's struggles in her kingdom and confronted Meltran about being a traitor and a vassal of the Lord of Calamity. Trying to think of other highlights. I think that covers most of it. But anyway, suffice to say, I've been enjoying the side content so much that I think we have a few more side quests to do. But just as we were gauging it last time, I don't think they'll take us as long as the ones on the previous stream did, where it took up the entirety of the stream time. So, hoping we'll be able to plow through these, maybe get a few more iris gems, some more insight into the world, all that good stuff, and then go back on the main plot line, hunting down Heldolf and seeing if we can take on the Lord of Calamity, hopefully with better results than the last time. So, let's dig in. Oh, and the kids, that was the other thing that was really interesting last time, was the whole subplot with the pickpocketing kids back in Lady Lake. Okay, so I don't think we can progress that plot about the vagabond kids who were killed in the forest yet. We're right here by Zafgot-Moor, I think, which is where that elephant Hellion is rampaging. So I say, why not start there? Zafgot-Moor. All right. My God, it is a big map. Well, we might as well sweep right and see what that dungeon we haven't been to yet is. With any luck, maybe it's a ruin with an iris gem. 2 birds, 1 stone. And then we can sweep all the way down there and see if we can find an elephant along the way. While we're wandering, and Tales of Destiny is on my mind, I'll tell you, I don't think I've mentioned this on the stream before, but certainly one of the interesting things to keep track of with kind of the development of gameplay in JRPGs, broadly speaking, is how they deal with random encounters. And in the older JRPGs than this, you know, as opposed to having sprites on the map that you can interact with to start battles, you have just kind of random triggers for battles to start, and you don't really have that much control over how frequently or when it happens. And man, some of those early JRPGs, like Tales of Destiny is one of them, like the battle frequency is so high, even when you use items like a holy bottle to decrease the frequency, that it can be hard to like puzzle solve when you're going through dungeons. And in those older JRPGs, like the puzzles that are intrinsic to the dungeons are also oftentimes much less obvious, like I know we've been talking about. And so it's hard enough to figure out the puzzles in the first place. But when you're trying to like survey the little bit of the map you have access to, look around the room, figure out what the puzzle is, what the different pieces are, all while every like 4 to 5 seconds you're being interrupted for a pretty protracted battle that like takes longer than the average battle in a more modern JRPG, just because like a lot of the animations are slower and it's not optimized for get in, get out the way you get now. It's like the cadence of it, as much as anything, makes it pretty hard to get through some of those puzzles and dungeons. I was tearing my hair out about that a little bit today. You get used to it, but man, it's hard. So I guess this isn't the elephant with a capital E that we're looking for, but we can hunt some elephants at least. God, there's this dungeon I still remember in the original Tales game, Tales of Fantasia. I couldn't tell you the name of it, but it's like, it's a giant mine in the darkness, and I think at least the majority of it is an optional dungeon, but it's like grueling. You can't see very far in front of you. I think it's largely shrouded in darkness. The enemies are some of the least forgiving in the game, and you have to grind through like floor after floor to get to the bottom, and I think if memory serves, make a pact with Pluto, who's like one of the optional, very powerful summon spirits in the game, because we ended up deciding it takes place in the same world as Tales of Symphonia and Dawn of the New World. But I was having acid flashbacks unexpectedly to that dungeon today, because it turns out there is a mandatory late-game dungeon in Tales of Destiny 2 years later, which has very similar vibes, where you have to navigate like a network of caves inside of a mountain in search of this very specific ancient ore that like hasn't been developed or mined or cultivated in ages, like literally ages in the world. And it's like a labyrinth style dungeon in the first place, and it's not always obvious when there's like a branching path on the map, because a lot of it depends on breaking down these like breakable rock walls that don't always look breakable as you're going past them. And there are so many different offshooting paths that look the same, and there's noxious mist spread throughout the dungeon that will just ambiently damage you as you're going around. And you can see like just a fraction of whatever room you're in at any given time. And so it's like everything is stacked against you in terms of like disorienting you, making you get lost. Enemies are attacking you, like I was talking about, every 3 seconds or so. So I almost thought I was going to have to break down and like look up a map of the area, because it just honestly was one of those old school dungeons that started to feel like an impossible task. And then of course, just as I was getting ready to give up rather, I found the ore. But I'll tell you, for all the difficulty, it did, more so than I expected it to, really help me to buy into the narrative of the game, because you know, so often in games, and I think JRPGs are often guilty of this, they'll talk about, oh, you have to go find this, you know, ancient object or material that hasn't been used in 1,000 years in order to complete the quest and save the world. And then, like, 5 minutes later, you've found, you know, like 99 instances of that material. And in cases like that, it's easy to kind of step back and ask, well, is it really that rare or legendary of a material when it was that easy for me to find it? But with this dungeon in Tales of Destiny, I really felt like, oh man, no, I actually really had a hard time, like, navigating this dungeon filled with all of these, like, you know, deadly hazards and impossible mazes. So, and there was only one instance of this ore in the deepest depths of that, so of course no one would ever have, you know, stumbled upon this in the last 1,000 years or however long it was supposed to be. Made the story a little more believable at the cost of my will to go on for a little bit. Alright, no elephant yet, but let's see if this is an optional dungeon or something we should just leave until later. It's a cave. I'm having this really vague memory that we may end up going here later in the main story, so I won't dawdle, but I want to poke around just in case there's an iris gem or something.
We can't hold back.
Let's do some fortune telling.
And that'll do it.
Oops, wrong one. If you've never played one of the OG Tales games like Fantasia or Destiny, one of the things that they do in terms of their battle flow, which I don't know if it was a conscious choice or my guess is it was more just like the design limitations at the time based on the tech, but the battles play and feel very different from the battles in something like Zisteria or even Tales of Symphonia, the first one that I streamed, because every time like a mid-level or higher spell is cast, so think not fireball but like eruption and everything on higher tiers than that, like the entire progress of the battle will stop and it'll just be like a little pretty long cinematic animation of the spell being cast. So that definitely alone is one of the reasons that the battle takes a lot longer, just in terms of gameplay loop, than something like Zisteria or Symphonia. But it does, I kind of, like, when I step back and, you know, force myself not to feel like I'm rushing the game and just being slowed down by battle, I do find it like a special way to appreciate just the sheer artistry of those older games, because the animations that they put together for all these different spells, and I think there's something like over 100 spells in Tales of Destiny, like the diversity and artistry of them is really quite impressive, and it's nice to be able to just reflect and enjoy all of that artwork. This is not the right elemental alignment at all. I really don't love these dangerous encounters. Probably because they really do feel dangerous. Well, we made it. We got some levels. I'll take it. I feel like I keep assigning Lila to be default bonded with Saray, and then they keep moving her off of that assignment for some reason. I don't totally understand what's going on there. Fighting armatized with a big sword, what can I say? I understand that.
Here, I'll do you a favor.
Thank you, Edna. God, I say it's easier to avoid enemy encounters in modern JRPGs versus retro ones, but honestly, with the speed values they assign to like the average enemy on the map in Zisteria versus what you can pull off when you're not windstepping, it is oftentimes harder to skirt enemies on the map in this than I've found in comparable games like Symphonia or Abyss, Dawn of the New World. I feel like we had an easier time getting around enemies in those other ones. Probably just a way of justifying or incentivizing wind stepping as a field skill, or whatever they call it.
I was clearly the star of that battle.
Jesus, no, I'm not going through another dangerous encounter. They just take too long, and I do not feel like there's a good enough payoff. Yeah, I'm fine with that. How are we doing on health? Good. That's what I like to see. Yeah, I can see when we're wind stepping, we're like just fast enough to outpace those birds. And I fucking jinxed it.
Looks like we win.
Well, that worked out. See, I feel like I still don't even fully understand dangerous encounters because that one seemed to feature far fewer enemies than the last dangerous encounter we slogged through. I guess we're out of herbs, that's frustrating. Well, I'm sure we'll encounter some more on our travels. I guess I should just give up on trying to run away from these birds. Another thing that was really cool for me to see in Tales of Destiny, I played through this part earlier today, was it features one of those really iconic Tales motifs of the characters from the party getting together with each other and having intimate conversations the night before the final battle, which was neat because it's been too many years since I've played Tales of Fantasia, so I couldn't tell you if Fantasia did it, but I had it in my head that it was, you know, not one of those iconic Tales things that went all the way back to the genesis of the series. Even though obviously it's a very key part of Tales of Symphonia, so it's been a mainstay of the series for at least 20 years at this point, but it was cool to see that as far back as 97, even with all the old school graphics and, you know, very retro setup in many ways, you still got those really touching heart-to-hearts.
Especially after a battle.
Like, at least with me, I see those old school graphics and it feels like an old game, and it's almost easy to kind of forget that it has anything to do with, you know, a series that includes games like Tales of Zestiria that we know and love in a more modern context. And so when you see those little story beats that are also familiar after all. It's like a nice reminder of, oh, you know, even if this looks a little different, it has the same DNA of those games that made such an impact on you growing up as a gamer. If you've never done that, that has gone back and played like much older entries in your favorite video game series, whether that's a JRPG or something else entirely, I cannot recommend enough doing that at least once in your life. So it really does give you a different appreciation for the games, for their place in game history. You can imagine what it was like for maybe people who were older than you to grow up and for the series to have just as big an impact on them, but with these very different games, kind of predated the ones that drew you into the series. Because that can really leave a mark on a gamer in terms of whatever the first one in the series they play is, right? It's that old perennial joke that everyone's favorite Zelda game is the one that they played growing up as a kid. I think there's a lot of truth to that. Not just with Zelda, but with any game series like Tales or Final Fantasy or probably even something like Call of Duty, for that matter. Since I remembered last time about the existence of food in our inventory, might as well make use of it. Well, hard to tell if there's any iris gem or similar hanging out here. No indications on the map, which doesn't mean there's nothing. But the cave also seems to be sprawling as opposed to funneling us toward a central area where something special might be. Well, at the minimum, we're going exploring, which we know Saray loves, and we're netting some good experience for the party. Nothing wrong with that.
Saray, is your sword style self-taught?
Yep.
Your grip, swing, and focus need work, but otherwise...
items. But I think we might be out of luck with regard to an iris gem. Geez, plenty of enemies. But no big boss Hellion either. Rose asking Edna if she's awake. There are actually a couple of bigger looking chambers at the end of this map that seem promising. And we did just find a save point, so maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe everything we were hoping for is just up ahead. Wouldn't that be nice? One way to find out. A chest we can't open. Oh, and a Norman. And an herb. All right. Now we're cooking with gas. I was trying to see, without having checked the skill grid, I feel like a decent number of these skills we've been getting and assigning to Rose might be in the same column or row, since they're verse particular enemy type skills. Let's see if we gotten her any synergies without trying too hard. A little bit. Not as much as I was hoping. Okay, I see. So, yeah, I think the ones I were thinking of were up here. Well, a few skills that reduce the impact of status effects. Not super flashy, but nice to have in a pinch. Oh, what the hell? Looks like the feed has stopped on OBS. Sorry, folks. Please hang on for a sec. I think my capture card might be having issues this evening. Thank you for bearing with our technical difficulties and just trying to reboot it real quick. See if that helps. Well, friends, I'm going to try one more time here, and then I may have to call a bit of a timeout on the stream to try to fix this on my end. I apologize. Not sure what's going on here this evening. Oh, we might have liftoff. There we go. Alright, I apologize for the delay of game there. Hopefully, I try to keep a decent eye on it, so hoping y'all didn't miss too much. We've just been navigating what I think are the final motions of Trizolda Cave here. Bizarre. I was just thinking the other day how nice and easy OBS has been treating me, with very few issues to navigate, so I must have jinxed it. Hopefully our luck does not get torpedoed over the rest of the stream. Well, I'd kind of been hoping to find an iris gem here. If I had to guess, this would be the unique Hellion of the area. Well, why don't we fight this so we can see what happens at least?
I like your moxie.
Ready?
Oh no! This isn't armadillo.
It's round, I guess, but it's just a poopa.
I won't accept such a half-hearted attempt. It's ball or nothing.
I forgot about the subplot of Lila being obsessed with this armadillo Hellion. This might be a little above our weight class right now. God damn. Yeah, this might be too tough for us. Especially since I think Saray's about to die. Yep. Yeah. Just when I thought we were getting something going.
Long enough.
Yeah, I don't think we're adequately equipped for this, unfortunately. Maybe we can make a comeback. Ugh, the amount of control that Armatized Mikleo has is nice, but I don't love that his element is not a good one to be using here. Kind of puts me up a creek without a paddle. There we go. Well, might have spoken too soon. I might be able to get something done here. And then it's like it just stops responding to any of my attacks. I wish I understood why. God damn it. Thought I queued a life bottle for Saray also.
Won't lose this time.
We both literally died inside of a healing circle. I don't know whether to be mad or impressed. It might be over now.
Won't lose this time. Just focus on battle. Get reckless.
And Dezel falls.
Dezel Rose.
Alright, now we have 2 humans, no Hellions. Now Rose is down again. Fuck me.
Rose.
What happened?
How many more times can I revive Rose for her to promptly get murdered? What level is he? 54. Oh, I think that is drastically above our level. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better in terms of our performance. Still annoying that we can be making just enough progress to feel like it's doable.
What should I do? I won't lose this time. Yeah. Tiger Blade. Dragon Fang. Kendrick Witch.
Yeah, we're out of life bottles. I think that's all she wrote.
Last one. Yeah. Tiger Blade.
Oh, but it can end here, Saray.
It wasn't strong enough.
I'm gonna try one more time. I want to see if we throw an all divide at the start of the battle. It might not be worth it, but we're just making such progress. So I want to see if we can do it.
Can't hold back.
Of course, that'll make the battle slower. Oh no, did they make the all divide weird and proprietary and do something different in Zestiria? Has damage taken by one ally or foe. So it literally only applies to one person in the battle? That is not your dad's all divide, and not in a good way. Well, alright, let's try to beef that up then. Okay. Fine, fuck it, I give up.
It's round, I guess, but it's just a...
That's a sign. Okay. Well, we found Armadillon. I guess that's strictly speaking progress. And we can come back when he doesn't have literally 20 levels on us. Jesus. Worth the attempt. Alright, I don't know if that bodes well for the elephant that we were hunting before that cave. But even if it's in the 40s, we might be able to deal with it. I think something level 50 plus is a bit ambitious for us right now.
Cannot avoid grab battle.
So is this what grown-ups are really like?
Yeah, sounds like something a brat would say.
So many elephants, and yet none appears to be the specimen we're seeking. I wonder if
this place was in the
I was
celestial
gonna
right.
say, it definitely looks like such a place. Oh, actually, I was thinking that was the tower, but nope. The point of interest is the cactus. Should have known.
Cactus with flowers.
It's a plant, so yeah. What did you expect?
I didn't know they bloomed. Their thorns are the more famous part.
Well, you know what they say. Every rose has a
Yeah, like every...
plant racist.
We've already done that
Some
this
plants
stream.
have Pretty flowers. A certain subset have thorns. Why do the roses get a proverb out of it? Pure arrogance is what it is. A rosaceous conspiracy to oppress the lower flora.
Right. Okay, then can you think of a good cactus proverb?
Every cactus has its flower.
Jinx!
Got it in
I
one.
should have tried harder.
Tales of Wordplay featuring Jesus and his entourage. I was flitting through looking at upcoming games a couple days ago, and I have to say, as much as it's been nice to be buried in really groundbreaking and well put together new releases the last few months, I'm kind of relieved and excited for a several month stint where there's nothing coming out that I'm really eager to dive in and play right away, because I feel like I need a break from jumping on a new game every single week. It's when you're consuming that much, A, like we've talked about, it's harder to keep it all in your head, and B, harder to find the time to stop and actually reflect on it, let alone write about some of this stuff. Whence my backlog of stuff that I really want to study and publish on.
I just saw
I
models
just
written
have
in
been
ancient
too busy
tongue.
playing through all of these new releases to get out. Ooh, can steal status enhancements. I learned so much from you, monoliths. But yeah, I think, unless there's something I'm overlooking or not thinking about, really the only two things on my semi-immediate radar that have not been released that I'm really looking forward to are, of course, the Elden Ring DLC, Shadow of the Erdtree, whenever that comes out. And I think it still has yet to have a date put on it, which on the one hand makes me feel like it won't be out for a while, so I can just bide my time and be patient and enjoy the break. But then there's a little part of me that, knowing FromSoft, I'm kind of worried they'll just drop it by total surprise one day without any lead up to it. Kind of similar to what Monolith did with Future Redeemed for Xenoblade Chronicles. So I'm hopeful that doesn't happen within the next couple of weeks or months, because I'd like to break, but I see it within the realm of possibility. And then I had forgotten about this game and was excited to see that it does have a date, I think in October. Alan Wake
That was a
2?
difficult battle. Let's restore
Oh
our
man,
vitality.
I kind of don't know how, for all of the talk and study of horror storytelling in video games we've done on With a Terrible Fate, we've never directly talked or written about Alan Wake. I may well have to rectify that in the next little bit here, but I have so much love for that game. I came late to it. I think it was only in 2021 that I finally picked it up and played it, although many people whose views on gaming I respect had told me really great things about it for years, so that was totally on me. But a great example of really thoughtful and interesting storytelling wrapped in a very cool sort of horror thriller package. And I think by the same studio, I'm pretty sure, that did Control, and another game I'm blanking on, but I love Control. That's one I've spoken about, but also I don't think I've ever actually written on. But they do great work, needless to say. And Alan Wake, after many, many years and a remaster of the original, is getting a sequel. And I was reading what little bit they've put out, kind of teasing the story and the setup, and it looks very, very interesting. If you like basically any of the stuff we write about and think about on With a Terrible Fate in terms of self-consciously interactive narrative that makes storytelling value out of the agency you have as a player, makes you think about your relationship with the avatar, how your actions constitute story, anything like that. I mean, Alan Wake has something digging into every facet of that in really interesting and cool ways. So I'm very excited for that sequel. And then I think the only new thing that is out, which I haven't played yet, that is on my high priority list, like I talked about a couple streams ago, is Amnesia: The Bunker. So excited to dig into that and hopefully share some thoughts on that too. Alright, so the giant elephant game is gotta be down here somewhere, I would think. And it's so big, I'm hoping that if only we keep our eyes peeled, it won't be too difficult to spot. We can stop being interrupted by werewolves every 5 seconds. I really do feel like this stream in particular, like, the game heard me talk about the frequency of random encounters in Tales of Destiny and was like, oh, I can do that, don't worry. Hold my beer, I'll make you have a battle every 3 seconds. All you have to do is ask.
The ruins are calling me.
I see a monolith.
I don't think we've checked that monolith out yet.
Thousands of battles, wow. It is amazing that the tutorial mechanic in this game is auguring thousands of battles in your playthrough. How many encounters have we had so far? Is that even, like, remotely realistic for the amount we're digging into it? 261. No, so we will probably not get to thousands. I was interested to see that I have probably gotten close to 1,000 battles in Tales of Destiny, which I feel like I played pretty casually, to be honest with you. So I think it must mostly just be the random encounter rate as much as anything.
Looks like your hunch was right again, Rose.
Hope you like that one, because I got loads more bad feelings on the way.
Roger. Let's all keep our guards
Medusa
up.
Hellion. I wonder if it's... Well, no, it wouldn't be the same as the Cardinal Hellion, because Rose killed her. Just a rematch with the same enemy type, I guess. Well, here's hoping we have better luck. 56. I'm not optimistic. Let's give it the old college try.
The Medusa again.
She's a similar type of Hellion, but it's actually Steno.
To watch her
There you go.
petrifying attacks, right?
There are limited ways to prevent petrification. If you aren't wearing preventive equipment, just try guarding.
No, that's right. So we may want to armatize with Dezel. That was really helpful in the last Medusa fight. guarding did seem to work at least. Does the panacea bottle not heal petrification? Son of a bitch! Everything except petrify? How are we supposed to deal with petrify? Man, the all divides don't work the way I want them to. The panacea bottles don't. I'm bummed out. I truly don't know what to do about Rose in this situation. If we could kill her, we could at least revive her, but I don't even think we can do that. Does the elixir restore her status? No, of course not. Oh, maybe? Well, we have to try it at least, I guess. Nope. Wow, and trying and failing to fix Rose's petrification situation killed Sarai. Alright, I am not going to try that again. I don't think taking on these level 56, 57 Hellions is especially feasible for us right now. It's interesting how early in the game they open those particular side bosses up, though. I'd think they would first direct us more towards optional side bosses who are closer to our level. Oh, that's got to be the elephant. Although, honestly, at the rate we've been going, I wouldn't be surprised if this were also kind of copiously over-leveled relative to us. But we gotta try it. Hyphant. Well, 53. That's slightly lower level. Let's see how it goes. You can't petrify us, at least, I don't think.
You're right in agony if you get stomped by it.
Oh, and we spent so long trying to find it, too. Alright. Oh, I didn't mean to retry the battle. Well, I guess we can try that one more time. As a joke.
What is up with Rose, you idiot?
Killed us all in one swing. I love it. I'm going to qualify our goal for this stream. We're going to hunt down and clean up side content that is level appropriate. The funny thing is, for all we have not been focusing on optimizing equipment and building a good skill kit and everything like that, I'm sure if we actually put in, like, you know, 30 minutes to an hour and a half into the meta, we would probably be at least sufficiently equipped to stand a chance against some of these enemies, even if they wouldn't be easy marks. But I just still don't feel strongly incentivized to do that, if I'm being honest. I spy a save point. Plitzerback Wetland. Oh, a whole giant area we haven't been to before. I'm hesitant. I don't want to open up too many new big areas before we progress the main story, because I don't know if the main story will end up sending us here anyways. Well, looks like there are a few people here. Maybe we can talk to them at least.
Is that a monolith?
So using arts improves those arts and your overall battle performance. I feel like that's something that would have been useful to know a little earlier in the game. Wow, we've got a whole giant marshland here. Alright, well, rather than forge ahead in these wetlands, I'm gonna see if there's other stuff we can knock off the existing list. Horsa Village, that was one of the ones we found last time. But I don't really remember where Horsa Village was. Well, it looks like another prompt was to check out the Pendrago Church. We do know where the Pendrago Church is, so why don't we go there? Ooh, I should go to the shop and restock our items while I'm thinking of it. Much better. People are gossiping about the tension between the church and knights.
Wasn't that Maven?
Someone you know?
Kinda. He's family to me, in a way.
How marvelous. Maven has been a great help to all of us. To the church? How so? It's a bit embarrassing, but he has been teaching us many of the ancient legends that were once lost to the church. Literature, legends, ruins. It is quite humbling to realize the true breadth of his knowledge.
Yep, that sounds like Maven.
I guess he wasn't faking the whole explorer thing after all.
Oh no, I forgot to give him a thank you gift.
Don't worry about it. Trust me, he won't mind.
No, I really must. Oh, but I am already running late for my church duties.
We could bring it to him, if you like.
I'm dreadfully sorry. Would you be able to? He said he was heading to the Gaferis ruins to meet with some old acquaintances.
To the Gaferus Ruins. A lot of respect for Maven to be found around here. Alright, sounds like we are off to the Great Camelot Bridge. Camelon, I think, not Camelot. Not to be confused with the actual namesake to which it alludes. Oh, where was the bridge? Great Camelot Bridge, there we go. Oh, it is Camelot, not Camelon. Heading for the Ganglin Ruins. Okay. Have we been to the Ganglin Ruins already? Oh my goodness, I forgot what a whole enterprise this bridge was.
Not in the mood, but oh well.
Do you think a day when Seraphim and humans can coexist will come?
They can't even see us.
But what if they could?
They still can't hear us.
Well, what if they could see and hear us too?
We have different values.
Oh, right.
That's a good point.
Not especially optimistic. was definitely not the most efficient way to go. So the Ganglon Ruins. Wondering whether we have those already, or if it might perhaps be in the wetlands up ahead. Yeah. I think it might be up ahead. I have the name right, yeah? If I ask Rose. Oh, Rose says so. Should have just known to ask her in the first place. Western Bolt's Gangland Ruins. Well, good thing we checked, because I was just going to boldly charge off in the totally wrong direction. Oh yeah, I think this was the one where we opened up the save point, but then I didn't go inside because I wasn't going to do it right at that moment, and I didn't want to accidentally make myself think later that I had done it by approaching the map. Yeah. I don't know how intuitive this is a way of keeping track of where you've been versus not, like if other people do this besides me, but oftentimes, like, when we see an overworld map like this, and there are question marks in places you haven't gone to, it's really helpful for my own housekeeping, especially in games like this where you can't really annotate the map that much, to just open up the overworld map and get the save points, but then don't actually go into the place until you're ready to actually take on and complete the area. Because that way, as we're doing now, when you go back to a map you haven't been to in a while, it's very easy to see at a glance, oh, okay, I haven't done this area yet, but I've done this area, and kind of guide your efforts accordingly. Maven! Alright, we found him. At last.
Maven!
Oh my, what are you doing here?
The priest in Pendrago asked us to pass along this thank you gift.
You followed me all the way here?
Trust is everything, whether it's business or personal. Isn't that what you taught me?
We promised the priest we'd do it.
I don't know what to do with you two.
Still, you've got an eclectic circle of acquaintances.
One of the hazards of the trade, yes. But then, you could say it's connections like these that make up the world.
Makes you tough to track down, though.
Quit your belly aching. Here, I'll let you keep that gift.
We can't do that.
Oh, don't be that way. This is how those connections get their start.
All right. Thank you.
Wait, then what was the point of coming here at all?
I wouldn't dwell on it, lass. Never lose that pure heart of yours.
And they never saw him again. Fluffy Rapide. Oh, is it an accessory, or whatever the term is, that alludes to Vesperia? Attachment. That's what I was thinking of. I have to see that. Fluffy Rapide. Puffy doll of Rapide from TOV. Ah, yes, so only those in the know can decode that into Tales of Vesperia. Tough and gallant as only a dog can be. Oh, that is pretty cute. I would never play an actual playthrough of this like that, but that is a pretty cute Easter egg for Rapide. Alright. Speaking of saving these dungeons for when we're ready to do them, I think the ruins do have a pretty good hit rate for stashing iris gems in their depths, so we might as well noodle our way around here while we've conveniently found ourselves at its entrance. God, these snakes. One of these days, folks, I'm gonna open a chest where we actually have the inventory space to take its contents. The pitfalls of being too prepared when we go adventuring. It's a rare occurrence for me in my playthroughs. Okay. It's 10,000 gold. I love it.
Let's do this!
Quite a fearsome fighting style.
From my standpoint, you're the one that's fearsome.
The way Edna twirls her umbrella is weirdly soothing to me. Like a fidget spinner or something. And down we go to the depths. These are some mighty big ruins.
You awake yet, Macklin?
Let's keep it up! Dragon bang! Well, that was actually pretty decent. Must have.
Yes, we should do this.
Be careful of October's jumping town!
October!
Kind of like the month of October? Good point! Let me explain it to you. Maybe later. Like, a lot later. Ready?
This is a pretty delightfully silly name if ever I've heard one for a Hellion.
Right on! We won't lose to you!
Good to go, Rose? And stay down.
That was maybe overkill.
Gonna grab him and apologize, huh? Be my guest.
down further still. Wow. Basement floor, and we're still going down. Basement 4, not basement floor. Excuse me. Down once more. Alright. The bottom floor at last. Now, the real question is, will we be graced by an iris gem here? Oh, no, that's the wrong one. That's what we want. I'm pretty confident that all of these at least have a boss Hellion and a save point in their innermost areas, so we can confidently move onward with our search until we find that. And maybe, just maybe, there'll be an iris gem waiting for us. Yeah, that room in the top right corner looks a little suspicious. If I were a betting man, bet we might just find something over there. Save point! That's what I'm talking about.
Do we really need to do this?
Wait, let's keep it up. Keep it on. Drop it back. Soul blade. I want to become stronger as a seraph.
You have more than enough talent for it.
Don't push yourself too hard.
Oh, I thought those icons on the door meant we'd have to do something special to open it. Ugh, I did use the save point, right? I've become way too anxious about that before bosses. Ugh. That's That's a biggin. Son of a bitch, and there's no iris gem. There's a Norman, that's something. And a bunch of chests. I guess we can clear this out before we give our new giant friend a shake. Thank you, Blarb. Goodbye. Nope. These ruins appear to be iris gemless, as far as I can tell. Gonna tag up on that save point, then we can try out this Hellion and then rock on. Please don't be level 1,000,000. Boss troll. 49. Well, I do like that they're gradually decreasing in the level they throw at us, but that's still pretty rough. Looks like we want to armatize with Mikleo. Well, that might be the synergy we need to get something started here, actually.
Whoa! That troll looks like a boss.
How astute of you. That's actually a boss troll.
If it's called a boss, it must be a boss.
That's what I was saying.
Got it in one. Oh, and he can summon buddies? Not one of those. God. It's one-hitting all our friends. The menu didn't open when I wanted it to. Leave it to the misclicks. God. This might also be outside our range. I feel like that single misclick really tripped me up. The tides of battle can turn pretty quick in these parts. I don't think Cisteria has one of those, like, life bottle with full health items, but man, oh man, it really does help when you can actually give your ally a healthy amount of health upon revival, as opposed to, like, the 1/3 that a life bottle gives. It's just inadequate. Okay. We have 4 people on the court at least. Let's see if we can get some health going. Dude, I was just about to armatize with you, man. Why you gotta be like that? Oh my god. Yeah, I give up. Oh, okay. The timing must have just worked out with Lila being revived, I guess. As long as they don't instantly die when they're hit, we might have a shot now. Why? Why would you break the Armadas just to get mowed down in one hit, Lila? What was the plan? Girls, come on.
Rose! This is bad. Watch your health. I need a hand! Blue pushes on motion flip! As your assault! Rose!
Embarrassing.
Burst! Ocean flip! Break on through! Now's my chance! Burst! Ocean
Love it when he
as your assault!
bricks my special burst attack. That makes me feel really good.
Blue flurry! Ocean flip! Now's my chance! Blue flurry! Ocean flip!
Every time, too. What is going on?
Burst! Break down! Break on through!
Keep forgetting about these arcane bottles. I feel like that would be really helpful to actually deploy right now.
As your assault! Aim and fire! Break on through! Blue flurry! Break down! Be careful!
Girl. I use my items on you and then you crumble.
Rose! Aim and fire! Here goes! As your assault!
I'm making just enough progress where I feel like it's worth going, but my god, it's like pulling teeth.
Break down! Aim and fire! Break down! Blue flurry! Ocean flip!
Okay.
Burst! Ocean flip! Ocean flip! Break on through! Blue flurry! Ocean flip! Break on through! Blue flurry! Break down!
That was good.
Ocean flip! Get back!
That was not. Oh, can she save her by aromatizing? Is that what she's about to do? Maybe I should just let her do that instead.
Blue flurry! Break down! First floor!
There we go.
Ocean flip! Break on through!
It's gonna be tighter than I want it to be, but we might have a shot.
Burst! Ocean flip! As your assault!
Jesus! The reach on that fucker's club. Guess I was asking for that. I really don't like getting that close. Only to then be mowed down. Talk about a downer ending. Alright, I'm gonna try him one more time, and then I'll bag it. Maybe I'll go ahead and use those, the arcane bottles preemptively. Oh, I can't use them preemptively. That has to be in battle. Okay. Maybe we'll just use these herbs then.
That troll looks like a boss.
How astute of you. That's actually a boss troll.
If it's called a boss, it must be a boss.
That's what I was saying.
Break down! Now the assault! Blue flurry! Ocean flip! Break on through! Blue flurry!
I think this is also one of those games that rewards you being a little aggressive in battle, and I'm not good at that. I will oftentimes game too defensively for games like thinking especially Miyazaki's games. Like half the times I find when I suck it up and really try to rush an enemy, which is so antithetical to how I game, like more often than not, it actually helps with my overall performance. I do say the best defense is a strong offense.
Say zero! Ocean Blitz! Lightning Vortex! Blistering Bang! Open the way forward! Aim and fire! Aim and fire!
Yeah, my god, look at this versus what a hassle we were having with it last time. Not that this is easy, but we're making more progress so far, at least.
Here it goes! Break on through! Burst!
Oh, and I forgot that we actually have the blast gauge things to use now.
Ocean Blitz! There! Burst! Burst! Ocean Blitz!
Alright, one more time, then I'm really done. This guy's pissing me off, man. I think we need to burn those herbs again. Oh, and I was gonna assign Mikleo right off the bat to hopefully make that a little better. I don't really know which other serif is the best to start out rows with. Why don't we give her Dezel instead, see if that makes a difference.
Okay.
Whoa! That troll looks like a boss.
How astute of you. That's actually a boss troll.
If it's called a boss, it must be a boss.
That's what I was saying.
Ocean Blitz! Break on through! Say zero! Blistering Bang! Lightning Vortex! Thanks! Ocean Blitz! More than water! Cyclone Vortex! Vortex swallows you! October it! Burst! Yeah, bring it! Get back! Blue Flurry! Rose!
Embarrassing. Glimmer Dragon!
You're looking strong enough.
Burst! Burst! I need a hand! I won't lose this time! I won't lose this time! We're outclassed!
Okay. I give up. I'm not happy about it at all. But I'm done. We're not going to be getting them this time. What's next? It looks like we've run out most of the topics, because we can't deal with the Hellions. Don't know where... You know, I'm just going to look up Horza Village to see if that's a place we can access yet. Because the others... Yeah, the only other live one we have right now is the set of Crucible challenges, which I don't really feel up to doing right now. Oh, it's the abandoned village in the moor. So I think it's the area where the Medusa is, or the Medusa cousin, so to speak. Which is another high-level Hellion we can't deal with yet. So I think the good news there is as much as there is extant side content that we can technically confront right now, we've kind of dealt with all of the stuff that is within our level band. So, with that, I'm going to say let's pivot back to the main plot for the moment. And we'll head back to Glavend Battlefield? Is that the name of the place where we fought Helldelth the first time? Okay, we can't fast travel there. That would be too easy. Can we get to Lady Lake? Alright, that's close enough. Might as well rest while we're here. Hunt those skits.
Dezel's wind-stepping skill sure is useful in traveling around.
Yep. When you say wind, speed is definitely the first thing that comes to mind.
Wind isn't the only thing that relates to speed.
What do you mean?
There's only one source of power. And besides, there may be multiple factors that influence the outcome.
I'm not sure I get what you mean.
It doesn't matter if it's water or fire. You can produce similar effects depending on how you use those powers.
Dezel, do you think you can teach me how to use them?
I can only teach you the basics. The rest all depends on you.
Looking out for others as always, huh, Dezel?
Whatever.
That's me. Begrudgingly so. Oh, and Mick Leo learned how to windstep from that. One of those skit conversations that has a material impact on gameplay. It looks like they're saying there's someone on the map to speak to with that little icon. But I'm not seeing anyone. Alright, let's get back to the battlefield then. Marland, actually, as I think about it, might have been a little bit closer, but I think we can get to it from here. Maybe? Yeah, maybe we'll just quick jump to Marland. If that place is not walled off. Great. Nothing new here. And we're back. I guess we have to enter from the forest. Alright, let's try that again. Back to the same save point. Where do we want to be? Glavend. Alright, so if we head east from here, we should run right into it after a fashion. Were there dungeons we hadn't hit yet on this map? No, we've been to all these places. Ooh, but an herb. My kingdom for an herb. I just wanted to save here. Too many menus. That was one of the things I really appreciated about Xenoblade Chronicles 3. One of the less substantive ones, but a big one for quality of life. Like, I appreciate the save point structure of the Tales games, but man, oh man, being able to just pull up the main menu of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and press a dedicated button to quick save in all of, you know, like half a second was really, really great for my compulsive concern for data loss without interrupting game flow in the process.
Delivery confirmed. You sparrow feathers definitely know how to secure quality goods. Now, about our next order.
Sorry, but something else has come up actually. We hope to do business with you again, though.
Felice, Telfrin.
Boss, what perfect timing.
Work?
Yeah, we got
Hey,
something we should discuss elsewhere.
come on over here.
All right.
We were approached by a secretary from the Roland's government. It looks like a job offer.
What?
Is this secretary the steward to the Emperor?
That's right. Plus, we got some juicy info, too. It seems that the Queen of Roland's is making moves to adopt the child of her late brother.
Interesting. The current Emperor is the son of the previous one, but the Queen wasn't the mother.
Right. And she once conspired with her own son in an attempt to shift the line of succession to him. You remember how that all worked out. You can bet the secretary hasn't forgotten either.
Sounds fine. I'll handle it.
You're taking the job? You realize this client is our sworn enemy.
Remember the creed of the Scattered Bones. If the job itself is a necessary one, it doesn't matter who the client is. That's what we stand for, isn't it?
I suppose it is. Gosh, boss. I don't know what we'd do without you.
And that's why I'm the boss.
Anyway, how should we approach the client?
We'll sneak into Pendrago Castle.
Seriously?
The client's probably too skittish to come meet with us personally, and a proxy won't do it all. I need to judge the client for myself.
Got it. If we're headed for the castle, I better call up everyone.
Don't worry. I'm going with her. There's some things that Shepard can't ignore.
Huh?
You sure? Is this okay, boss?
Rose, it's looking like the Imperial family has somehow gotten mixed up with Hellions.
We should go by ourselves.
Telfrin, Felice. We'll go by ourselves. It'll be easier to get around that way.
All right. Take care out there, boss.
Saray, you watch over our boss now. You hear?
Will do.
I feel kinda guilty, getting you all wrapped up in the affairs of the Scattered Bones.
It's really okay. I should be there for you. All the more so if Hellions might be involved.
Finally, it's time. Let's get going to Pendrago.
Dezel, you're really going through with this?
Better late than never.
What's this about?
You don't need to know.
Revenge, mostly.
Come on, just tell me.
Hey, cut it out! Get the hell off me!
What an adorable couple.
Hey, Ken and Dixie. Let's get moving.
Dezel, are there really Hellions in the Roland's Imperial family?
You're slow to catch on. Go see for yourself.
Hey.
Yes, Saray, I know.
It's cool, guys. I love being kept in the dark.
Sorry.
I promise, just a little bit longer and we'll be able to explain.
All right, if you say so.
So this will be interesting to watch unfold, because I get the point they're saying about the shepherd needing to be involved if they're Hellions in the Imperial Royal Family, but then, again, similar to what we were talking about last stream, with all the drama about the line of succession and sort of internal political struggles within the family for stuff like who gets to rule. I mean, if ever there were a case of human affairs that the shepherd would want to stay above, like they were saying with war way earlier in the game, I would think that would qualify as something that he had no business in. So I can see this particular adventure cutting both ways in terms of whether or not Saray ought to be involved. Hopefully this will get us close enough to Pendrago. Yeah, perfect. Right.
Stupid is as stupid does, they say.
Dance at first, not yet.
Come here.
Yeah! Focus! Ready?
Incredible knife handling. Do you have anything? I'm not hiding anything, I swear.
Zavid! The international man of
Somehow
mystery.
I'm guessing this ain't a coincidence.
Just a word of friendly advice. Leave your opponent this time to me.
Don't mess with me, Zavid.
I'm not messing with you, especially not now. You can listen to me or not, your choice. But I'm handling this either way.
Like hell.
Fair enough, Dezel. But just so you know, there's 2 people left that I've still got a score to settle with. And I didn't save these last 2 shots of mine just to throw them away.
What are you even talking about?
Mickey boy, when a man says he means business, he means business. Don't ever forget that!
Zavid Fight Part 3. I still don't really understand what this dude is about for his creepingly central role in the narrative. Hopefully it looks like things are coming to a head where we'll get more insight into Dezel and Zavid's relationship. Oh boy, after dealing with those level 50-something enemies, regular old scripted main story Zavid is a breath of fresh air. Ah, no pun intended, I guess. I didn't notice the horns in his musical track though last time we fought him. It's a very cool layer to it. Oh no. Oh. My victory was premature. That's good color to the fight. He yells at you if you take him out. I mean, he's dead, so there's not that much we can do about it. It'd be cool if they gave him an enhanced recovery rate. Dezel, I mean, so that he could get back in the fray more quickly, like he was just champing at the bit to go.
Damn. You're a lot better at this than you used to be. Hey, if you can't stop this fool from killing the Hellions, then try using this. Its power can stop malevolence from binding with people.
Got it.
I'll give you my very last shot. You can pay me back later.
Why do this?
Hell if I know. Go on ahead. Zavid needs a nap.
I've been there, Zavid. I've been there.
Some of us are low on health.
Can we talk to him? No, he is out for the count. I really feel, I mean, I know I've been juggling a lot of games, but I feel like I've been doing a decent job of keeping track of all the moving pieces in Zestiria. And granted, there are more than I remembered, and we're now in the part of the game that I think I've only played once a few years ago, but I don't think I'm overlooking stuff about Zavid. I think we just truly don't know that much about him. And really even that much about Dezel at this point. Like, we know that Dezel has this revenge vendetta, but I think a lot of the details of it have remained in the dark for longer than I expected and would expect for central characters in a game like this, which is kind of interesting.
This thing sure is weird. Is that the thing Zavid gave you? He said that it's a tool that shoots out power.
Yeah, and that's how he gets power to oppose the malevolence.
So, if you shoot yourself, you gain more power. If you shoot someone with it, you sever their ties with the malevolence. So it's kind of like a bow that only fires arrows of pure energy. Is that it?
These bullets have that kind of power?
Presumably.
And this is the last one, huh?
Looks like it. Assuming we can't figure out how to make more.
How about we take it apart and see if we can...
No way.
I know. We probably wouldn't know how to put it back together if we did that.
We need to treat it with care. It's obviously valuable.
An arrow of force.
I prefer Chekhov's gun of purification, personally. Chekhov's gun, for those who are unfamiliar, is a storytelling device that's attributed to Anton Chekhov, the playwright. And the idea is just the minute like a gun is introduced into a play and shows up on stage, you know that at some point someone is going to use it to shoot someone else. That's not just going to idly be there with no purpose or function in the story.
Why don't we chill at the end?
So it's kind of a classic theatrical device for suspense. And in exactly that way, the minute Zavid hands the shepherd and his crew a super-powered purification gun with one bullet left, you better believe that's going to serve a key role in the narrative at one point or another. And I say that not even remembering exactly when or how it's used, but you can just know that's going to happen. What a unsettling thing to say about your stew. But you better believe we're gonna enjoy it. And scoping we shall go. Nothing in there. No, can't get in here. I mean, I don't know, Rose. I felt like that was a pretty good sweep. We must have missed something, I guess. We can't get through this barricade, right? No, certainly not. I guess I should just make sure Nothing triggers by going down here. No. I must have just walked right by something obvious in the northern quarter, I guess. I don't think we went in that direction yet. Oh, but we can't go in that direction yet. That is also barricaded off. Maybe down here. The very last place we went.
Well, if it ain't the boss.
Welcome,
welcome.
A blast from the past.
Lunar!
Foxy Loxy, I believe his proper name
But
was.
you look like a Hellion.
Oh dear, look at that face. You're scaring me, boss.
We don't have time to toy with the likes of you. Come on, I'll settle this right here and now.
What exquisite anger. It makes me so hungry. Here he comes.
The malevolence he emits is incredibly strong.
You mean it's just like with the Cardinal before?
Don't think about anything else until we beat it.
Got it.
We still really haven't gotten the full story of what Lunar is about either, right? I mean, back when we confronted him early in the game, we saw members of the Hidden Bones take him away, but that was really before we understood who the Hidden Bones were. And it's evident that the Hidden Bones as an organization aren't malevolent. That's the whole conceit of them. And so, still not totally sure how Lunar fits into that. If they just weren't aware that he had been corrupted, or if they were kind of using him for their own ends. Hopefully we'll get some more insight here.
I want to become stronger as a Seraph.
You have more than enough.
Damn it! Still not enough?
It's the end of the line, Lunar.
Now!
Got it. What is this feeling?
Uh-oh.
Watch out! There's someone else here!
Might you refrain from acting out of turn?
That voice! Shut up! Don't interfere with me!
Foolish, reckless fox. Your role was to lead them on, if you recall. If you act recklessly and provoke his anger, what will we do then?
Wait!
This wasn't the plan, but I'm flexible.
Whoa! What the?
Wait. That seems bad. Seems bad, and yet I have so many follow-up questions. I have a feeling I know the owner of that mystery voice too, considering we've seen previews of that female follower of the Lord of Calamity more than once, both in terms of her watching us and in terms of her actions serving Helldolf in the past through the Iris Gems. And someone so close to Helldolf would presumably have suspicious powers of malevolence. as we're experiencing firsthand here.
You better go after him, or you'll lose him, girl. Surely you won't let him get away with such a vile betrayal.
Then that so-called job offer.
It was a trap.
Damn it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Show yourself.
What's your hurry? Relax. This is just the opening act.
I'll relax when you're good and dead.
Dezel, do you know whose voice that is?
How could I forget? That's who I've been after for so long.
Oh,
What?
she's the object of his revenge quest.
Haven't you noticed, Lila?
I have. There is no malevolence within this domain.
Meaning that whoever's generating this isn't a Hellion.
What could this mean?
That's true, it's a powerful domain, but it's grayscale as opposed to all of the bubbling, virulent purple that we've come to expect from malevolent domains. Kind of almost more unnerving by virtue of that.
Enough, all right? Come on! Let me out.
His will is not to be ignored.
Lunar!
What is going on?
Yep. Pick up the phone. I called it.
Productive for an opening act. What splendid anger you've shown me, girl. If it should blossom into hatred. Oh, but how happy he will be.
Who is she?
I've waited so long.
Indeed, the time is ripe for both of us.
Wait, Dezel! She's not a Hellion!
Like I give a damn. You turn my friends into Hellions and drag the name of the Wind Riders through the mud?
What are you talking about, Dezel?
Do you mean to say that the girl still doesn't know? Splendid. Oh, how splendid. The perfect scene has been set.
Oh no, we have ourselves an auteur villain.
No! Let me go! This moment is what I've been living for!
Everyone stop! This whole thing is wrong! Saray, Dezel, what's going on?
Dear, dear girl. Let me fill you in. In a desperate effort to preserve and continue the Wind Riders, who were his last concrete connection to his dead comrade, this seraph abused your remarkable resonance to periodically commandeer your body, steering you all into the darkness, recreating the Wind Riders as an assassin's guild. Then, in his quest to kill a Hellion, he set his sights on the power of the Armatis, using you over and over as a vessel to enact his vengeance. It was all right, he thought. It was all to avenge his friend. I do wonder if you agree.
That's right. And to take my revenge against you, I would do it all again in a heartbeat!
That's enough, creepy little girl, for now.
There's something wrong about all of this.
Let's get out of here! I think not.
Ugh.
She became a Hellion? Why? If words alone won't make you remember. Well, like I said, I'm flexible.
So, you show your true colors at last.
Dang it!
Scumbag! I'm gonna kill you! That's the only reason I live!
Oh, how lost you are in the delusion of self-affirmation.
What are you saying?
It's quite pitiful, really. Though I do understand how you got like this. Think hard. What was it that you truly desired? Back then, How and why did you lose your friend after killing a Hellion? What happens to its malevolence? Are you really so sure you want this to be your vengeance?
Shut up! Lila, get ready to purify her!
Not this time. I'm gonna kill her!
Dezel!
What?
You mustn't! There's no other way. No! He's broken the pact?
Oh, Jesus.
Dezel!
Tisk, tisk. I can't let you do that.
What? But why?
Saray, this isn't the time.
All right.
Oh, Jesus.
Again, I can manipulate the senses of others, deceive them through illusion. So when it looked like you'd suddenly turned into a Hellion...
It was a trick.
But for the record, the Hellion was real.
Master of Sleight of Hand. Do we? Oh, we still don't know her name yet.
Lila, use the authority of the Prime Lord to stop Dezel.
I can't! The Sublord has broken the pact!
Can that even be done?
Not usually. It can't be done from the Sublord's side. My, this is getting interesting.
I was thinking for a second it wouldn't make sense for a sublord to be able to break a pact, but then I was thinking back with all the stuff we talked about in terms of
Something you should know.
pact making in Tales of Symphonia, and like intrinsic to the idea of a pact is the idea that both sides, like both parties to it, have to uphold certain codes of conduct in order for the pact to stay active and in accord. And so kind of only makes sense that sublords would be able to break it. What's interesting, there's such a like strict unity of the Shepherd's party up to this point in the story that it's almost like, without even thinking about it, you kind of assume that the pact is bonding and inescapable. So to be reminded that at the end of the day it's just a pact is kind of unnerving. Unnerving in exactly the way this music is, in fact.
Shepherd.
What?
Let me show you exactly what mischief your Seraph friend has wrought. All he did was merely give his blessing. That's all. But not every blessing of the Seraphim is one that brings fortune to the people.
Finally! Finally, I can kill you! Die!
I really enjoy traveling with them. We're so lucky.
Oh.
I'm truly
I think this is gonna hurt, guys.
And of course, I want to bring the Wind Riders under Rollins' wing. You're the greatest in the land.
But engagement to you, Prince Conan? It's like a dream.
I'm sorry to see our journey end, but all's well that ends well.
No. I don't want this to end.
Don't let up out there. Go!
Prince Conan, the captain is missing!
Get away from her right now!
Who are you to order me around?
He's already a Hellion.
Huh? Who are you talking to?
You all smell so delicious. It's driving me wild.
How could he have completely turned into a Hellion in such a short amount of time?
Your Highness, what is this nonsense about us killing the first Imperial Prince?
Guards! The traitor scum are here!
trap, huh? You sick lunatic.
How can this be? It appears that Brad, the leader of the Wind Riders, has murdered the prince. He is already in custody of the Pendrago City Guard. All other Wind Riders are likewise under arrest.
Understand? It's all because Prince Conan became a Hellion, and at the urging of his Hellion greed, he sought to eliminate all hindrances. And by now, I imagine that you've already guessed what made him a Hellion. Have you not? Him.
I might be willing to pardon you, at least, if you'll agree to be mine.
What?
Oh, come now. You'd be the kept woman of the heir to the throne! A greater honor does not exist.
Why you?
Come on!
Behold, this is the fruit of your blessing. Do you have any idea what people call those with this kind of power? Angels of death.
It was all my fault.
So it was Dezel's domain that Hellionized the prince?
All my fault.
I'm not totally understanding this, to be honest with you.
Looks like someone finally remembers his past.
Rose! Dezel! Move it!
And now the real fun starts, Shepard. Pay close attention.
Rose.
Dezel, don't move. Got it?
Why you?
You mustn't! Rose is horribly wounded. Even if you purify the malevolence, she doesn't have the strength to handle the burden. You mustn't attack now.
So,
Rose will...
what do we
Don't do
do?
anything, Rose will become a Hellion.
Except her wounds will kill her even before that happens. A shepherd is faced with difficult choices sometimes. Isn't that right? Better decide quickly, Shepard. Your darling comedian doesn't have wrong. Silence!
Too close!
Hold. Sorry. Get back for a moment. I have a plan.
What?
Oh, I'm worried. I'm so worried.
Oh, Shepard, do quit your desperate flailing about. You risk making a mess of the grand stage I spent all this time preparing.
Sorry. Listen.
Dezel, don't push yourself.
Just listen to me. We have to sever the bond between Rose and the Hellion.
Even for the shepherd, that would be nothing short of a miracle.
It's impossible.
Saray, hand me that thing you got from Savid. It can fire strength itself, right? And I shall be that strength. I shall be your attack.
What do you mean?
Even as he is absorbed into the Hellion, he'll become an attack with a will of its own. He'll find the bond between Rose and the Hellion and sever it without hurting her body.
But that's just suicide!
If I can summon up the last reserves of my strength and merge them with the power stored in this one remaining bullet, I can stay myself long enough to break the bond while leaving Rose untouched. Saray, neither Rose nor I can afford to waste any more time. You understand, don't you?
Dezel? No!
Counting on you. Don't mess this up.
Rose, I'm so sorry. It was me. I caused you, the Wind Riders, everyone to suffer. It's all my fault.
That's what was bugging you? I suppose from the outside it looked like we were suffering. But as far as I'm concerned, these have been the happiest years of my life. 5 years ago, when everything went pear-shaped, we could have been tossed to the winds. But instead, we got to travel again together as the scattered bones and the sparrow feathers. I was so happy. In fact, I'm grateful to you. Really. Hey, come on. There's gotta be more you want to say.
I'm useless. In the end, I wasn't good for a damn thing. But I can say I did one thing right. Just one. And that one right thing made everything else worthwhile. I'm eternally grateful to you too, Rose. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tell Saray and the others that it wasn't all bad. Romping around those rooms with all those nutballs.
I will.
And if they get bummed out about this,
Tell him, hey, I thought you had good to do in the world. Keep moping and crying, and I'll chain you up so tight you can't even breathe.
and then give him a good kick in the ass for me.
Yeah.
Good luck out there. Keep on keeping on.
Yeah!
Oh, man. I wasn't ready for that.
Rose!
Oh, thank goodness.
And he got his sight back in the end to say goodbye to her. Oh.
So, how does it feel? What do you think, Shepherd? To be as infatuated with someone as he once was? Is it not right that Seraphim, whose blessings only cause misfortune, should not be allowed to exist? Was not his very existence evil to the core and deserving of extermination?
Lies!
You've got quite a bark, girl. Those are some plucky words from one who once sought to kill the Shepherd for the same reasons.
Who are you anyway?
I am Simone. Like him, a wretched, pitiable seraph, burdened with countless sins. And now, Exeunt.
Wait!
I suggest you make time to grieve.
Wow.
I told everyone to meet here tomorrow morning. Sometimes it's best to be alone for a while.
Thanks, Mikleo.
Saray, don't worry about it too much. I need a bit of a walk myself.
Jesus, that was a lot to process. Well, good thing we're gonna have all these scenes to talk it through with people. So, wow, we learned a lot about the past of Dezel and the Hidden Bones and that conspiracy that they were alluding to earlier when they were talking about the struggle of succession between different people in Pendrago. I mean, that's what they were showing in the flashback with Dezel. And I still want to understand more about what the implications were in terms of what Simone was saying about Seraphim who, like, beget negative blessings. Because we found out a long time ago that malevolence isn't really evil as such, but more to do with a misalignment between what you're doing and what you believe is the right or justified path. So it's like an alignment between kind of your principles of action and what you do and how you live your life. Which means, I guess, I don't think this has ever been explicitly stated, but presumably Seraphim who are able to extend these blessings and are pure and safe from malevolence also aren't really beacons of pure moral goodness as such, but more beacons of that alignment between, like, intentions and, like, faith in the justification for your actions. In which case, then, someone like, I guess Simone was saying, like herself, or like Dezel, could have this, like, singularity of purpose, whether that's, like, a love or obsession with someone else, or some other example, and that could almost, like, keep them pure as a seraph, but also, like, I guess what Simone was saying and what we kind of saw in the past with Dezel was, like, that very action and, like, mode of seraphhood could be conducive to other people, like those around the seraph, becoming corrupted. That seemed to be what Simone was saying in terms of, like, Dezel extending his emotional state to those around him and corrupting the prince and inciting the events of the rebellion, and his framing the sparrow feathers and turning them into the hidden bones and everything. I think that's kind of that's the most I can wrap my head around it right now, but hopefully some of these conversations will help to give us some more clarity on it too. Jeez, Dezel. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's another Tales game I've played recently anyways, without spoiling ones that we haven't played, that had, like, key character deaths in the main party. I mean, there's the optional route in Tales of Symphonia that we didn't take, that sees you killing Zelos. but it's, yeah, I think a relatively rare occurrence in the series, and definitely hits hard. No, I want to talk with everyone first. I think part of what's sad and has me kind of set adrift and feeling lost at Dezel's death is kind of the main arc that we see with him as he journeys through the party is just him like really wrestling with this this internal discomfort he has with his past and his attachment to Rose and his friend and everyone. So we kind of only see this inexplicably tortured guy, and it's only in his death, like we saw in that moment of him getting his sight back after he made that sacrifice to Rose, that he finally gets the clarity to understand like his past and the meaning of his life, which is sad because we're almost like, as players who have been following him through the game, 3 steps back from that in our understanding of him, and so it really only clicks for us as it's clicking now when he's already gone. Oh, that's really heartbreaking. It's not letting us... Oh, there we go. Some of these prompts are a little wonky.
Dezel's death, his shameful acts, and the things Simone said. Perhaps they're all things the Shepherd has to accept in order to quell the Lord of Calamity.
I'm just not sure how to feel about it all.
I was thinking you should quit.
What?
Just hear me out. I used to think that when the Shepherd was getting crushed and overwhelmed by his duty or by his destiny, that it was something that you could just up and quit. Until yesterday, that is. Things are different now.
For Dezel's sake, if nothing else, I want to find the answers.
That's right. It isn't even some feeling of obligation so much as I just want to know. In the hope that we won't make the same mistakes again.
That's an interesting sentiment. The
So
difference
that's
between
why
like a
I
duty
no
and
longer
just
think you should quit.
a desire to
We
understand.
definitely have to find some answers.
That feels very Saray and Mikleo.
Right. And it isn't just the Shepherd's duty either. This journey is something we, all of us, need to own.
That's true. Thank you.
There's no need for thanks. I just said how I truly feel.
Pure honesty of intent. The one thing you can count on a Seraph for, I guess. I want to see, before we go into these other conversations, just what the synopsis has to say about what happened just now. So I still feel like I don't perfectly have my head wrapped around it. Yeah, so Lunar betrayed the Scattered Bones. We were able to make sense of that. The curse of the Wind Riders was his own doing, so he was the one, presumably, who turned them into Hellions. And he'd repressed his own memories of that and his understanding of himself. Oh, and he was the one who killed his friend? That I did not understand from the flashback. Kind of more opaque than I would have expected from a game like this. That's interesting. So the way that the synopsis is putting it, and this feels right, is that, you know, we have the understanding that Dezel was able to fuse with the bullet in order to, like, separate Rose from the Hellion, but we also have that moment of, like, the really touching last conversation between them that's so honest, where Dezel opens up to her more than he had in the past. And so it's interesting to read that, like, honesty and authenticity of who Dezel is and what he's sharing with Rose as identical with what it means to kind of purify Rose and free her from the malevolence that she's been wrapped up in inside of Simone's Hellion. Okay. So then, because Dezel said the whole time he was like on a quest for revenge against the person who was responsible for like killing his friend and turning the other Windriders into Hellions. So it's not even clear to me if there was someone else who was there or if that was really something that he had all invented in his mind as a defense mechanism because he couldn't accept the fact that it was his domain and influence that had like killed his friend and corrupted the group in that way. I think I'm gonna have to rewatch this whole sequence. Definitely a lot more subtle with just like the pure layer of plot that it is that it's expressing in this sequence. In a typical Tales game, I'd expect there to be a ton of nuance and plenty of things to keep track of as we've been, talking about and navigating through all of Tales of Praxis so far, but kind of the bare level of events in terms of what's going on in the plot, I feel like is usually easier to just track and superficially understand.
Our friend, the creepy little girl, she said she was burdened with sins.
Right. And she also said that the shepherd must know the truth of Seraphim, who carry such sorrowful burdens.
Of those whose mere existence means human suffering. Sometimes death can be a release. If just by living, one causes terrible things to happen, then death would be.
Edna, stop right there!
I'm not talking about Dezel, you idiot.
You shouldn't be saying that about your brother either!
So what if I did? They're just words. It's probably nothing you haven't heard before anyway.
I still don't like it. I don't want to hear it right now.
Oh. Then there's nothing to discuss.
Yeah.
Saray. All I was really trying to say is that I think Dezel was saved in a way. I chose my words poorly, and it was wrong of me. I apologize.
Thank you, Edna.
Don't mention it.
That's interesting as a much more sober and somber version of the kind of wordplay and punnery that they do all the time in skits and lighthearted banter with one another. Like in the lighthearted and in the very serious, grave moments. There's value in both cases to be concerned with the the weight and meaning of the words you choose. And fitting, of course, for a game where the alignment between intention and expression in the world is so key to not just your self-concept, but also the influence you have directly and indirectly on others. It's a nice thematic mirror.
Lila, what are you doing?
Oh, this?
That's incredible! How'd you do that?
Making paper crafts like this really takes the edge off for me. I forget about all my cares, and it's like I just enter my own little world.
I see.
Saray, you've got to stop carrying the burden all by yourself.
I think this one's gonna be tough, even if I share the burden. I find myself wondering, was there anything else I could have done? Should we have talked it over first? I just start thinking about things.
Moments of reflection are good for the spirits, Saray, but regrets solve nothing.
What's this?
Humans have a custom. Sometimes they send a paper boat down a river imbued with a remembrance of their lost one, so that it may reach them. Since Dezel was a wind seraph, I thought maybe a bird that soars through the air would be more fitting. Now, Saray, let's send it off.
I'm sure it reached him. Lila.
Yes?
Thank you. But you mustn't try to carry the burden all by yourself either.
I'll be quite fine. There's no need to worry. I'm going to stay up here for a while. The wind feels comforting.
All right then. I'll leave you to it.
Okay. I too have a ways to go.
Something about the way she said that was some haunting foreshadowing. I want to think more about this too. Maybe we can discuss it and reflect on it over the next couple streams. 'Cause I feel like in the first place, it's interesting to me that I had pretty much no recollection of this pretty pivotal character death that's clearly a central plot piece here before I came in and experienced the game again, barring the incredibly inconsiderate mention of it by someone who just came in and bombed the stream with a spoiler of it, which I can't imagine what kind of person you'd have to be to do that. So I dearly hope that I was the only one engaging with the stream who had that spoiled in that way. But I think it's really interesting that I had no memory of this, and I think maybe part of it speaks to part of why like some of this game might be hard for people, which is like, you know, this is a character death of a seraph, which is kind of a supporting character, and a seraph who came in and was bonded to this character who was like a late edition support to Saray, as opposed to someone who was like directly involved with Saray as such. Like, it's not the same as if, you know, Lila or Mikleo suddenly died, or, you know, even Gramps or someone who is close to Saray as a kid. There's this weird kind of pocket side nature of the whole plot between Dezel and Rose. And I think if you're just casually playing this and trying to keep track of the story, that can make it much harder, even assuming you understand like the ins and outs of the plot of what actually happened with Dezel and Rose, to like fit that story in with the broader themes of the story of the Shepherd and what it is that Saray's wrestling with. So I feel like it is like a surprisingly challenging and probably rewarding exercise to ask the question of, okay, you know, what is the point of Rose's introduction as a squire into the story of Saray and the Shepherd and what he's wrestling with, and then what is the point of Dezel's plot and his interests and what he represents, not just relative to Rose and their relationship, but also in terms of what he brings to the journey of the Shepherd, and then understanding all of that. Why is it Dezel who dies, and what does that death mean to the party and teach them in terms of the overall meaning of the journey, even beyond the context of Rose and Dezel per se. It's like, you know, when they're, I'm trying to think of a character death that's not really spoiling something. Well, because we talked about Zelos already. Like, I know we didn't play through that branch of the Tales of Symphonia plot in the stream, but you can understand the character of Zelos, understand the, you know, ideas of trust and betrayal that are intrinsic to Tales of Symphonia's narrative, and to have to wrestle with this chosen one betraying the party for the sake of Crucius. I mean, that's all pretty close to home in terms of the central concerns of the party and the story at that point. And so, while there's a lot to say and study about Zelos and think about in terms of the overall Tales of Symphonia story, it's less of a puzzle to understand the death in a way that fits it into the story in the first place. Here, I think that is a bit more of a puzzle, which might be why, if I were to speculate even on my own feelings, and I don't know if other people feel a similar way, that could be part of why it's harder to get a rich attachment and understanding to Tales of Zestiria's story in a way that a lot of people feel with something like Symphonia or Tales of the Abyss, or more of the straightforwardly popular entries in the series.
Hey, Shepard, tell me something. How was Dezel in his last moments?
He was smiling.
So, he was he? I guess he got his wish after all.
Zavid, you knew Dezel, didn't you?
Sort of. There was a time my comrades and I saved him, and he was just a little rascal.
Oh. Is that why your fighting styles are so similar?
Yep. He learned by copying me. And yet, I don't think he even remembered who I was.
Oh, that's interesting.
That fellow tossed everything away, even his memories. But if something gets thrown away, you just gotta find it again. And you found it for him, didn't you?
Hey, are you trying to comfort me, Zavid?
You bet I am. You're gonna be my all-important vessel pretty soon. Can't have you getting all malevolent on me.
Huh?
And on that note, I think I'll go talk to Lila about that Sublord Pact.
You gotta be kidding me!
Well, I can't exterminate the Hellions all by myself anymore, can I? And besides, if I tag along with you, I can collect your debt to me whenever I like.
You can't just decide something like that!
Oops, I did. Anyway, see you tomorrow, Sheps.
That lousy...
I know that people can oftentimes rightly be very frustrated when the thing that just happened with Zavid happens in video games, and especially JRPGs. Namely, you lose a party member to a death, and then almost immediately, as in this case, there's another character who comes along who just happens to have their same skill set and elemental alignment and everything to take their place, because it feels like you haven't lost something in the way that you'd expect to lose something with a death. And I think that's fair. And actually, one of the first articles that was published on With the Terrible Fate, and not by me, but by a guest author, Nathan Randall, was an interesting look at character death that dove deep into that paradigm and other paradigms that kind of have more impact. But I do want us to try to, in a similar spirit to how we were just thinking about, well, let's interrogate, what Rose and Dezel mean to each other and to the story, and think about how that cascades through the Shepherd's journey. I think it's worth asking something similar as we go forward with the relationship between Dezel and Zavid, and the role of the wind seraph in the Shepherd's party, because while they do have similar fighting styles, there's a narrative reason for that Zavid just explained, and they also have very different personalities. And so perhaps wondering what it means for two kind of very different characters to fill that same role in gameplay might let us get traction on kind of a more interesting explanation of what role that serves in the story, beyond just expressing frustration that, as soon as there's a hole in the party, it's filled, and that takes the meaning out of it. It doesn't have to take the meaning out of it. It just means we have to look at the meaning according to a slightly different interpretation of what the story and gameplay might be trying to tell us in their conversation with each other.
Back there, I spoke with Dezel during his last moments. And when I saw him then, I remembered something that I'd forgotten long ago. I had met him before, when I was really little. I realized he'd probably been protecting me ever since, my whole life.
Rose, Dezel didn't want you to know that. He said he wanted you to live believing you'd come this far by your strength alone.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what he wanted. But I actually wish he'd just straight up told me, without knowing I was a jerk, self-absorbed and totally ungrateful to him.
Sorry.
From now on, you gotta tell me these things, alright?
Right. This is actually a load off my mind. I was worried you'd be, you know, devastated.
Yeah, I don't know. A whole lot of things happened all at once. And somehow it doesn't feel like I'll never see him again. And the garbage that crazy Simone chick was spouting, I think it says more about her problems than anything else.
Rose, you're my hero.
Oh.
Oh, I just don't like to think too much. Anyway, Saray, you get some good rest.
I will.
So, I have the beginnings of thinking about all the issues we've been talking about, and I'm thinking about what Rose said in terms of, oh, I understand why Dezel kept it to himself, his history with me and his feelings for me, but I wish he hadn't. Maybe part of it, like why it's important that this whole plot and death happens with Rose being introduced to the party and then Dezel with his particular attachment to her cascading and corrupting in the way that it does, is like, in the first part of the game, there's all of this investigation and interrogation of malevolence and purity and what those things mean in terms of, like, you know, the authentic alignment between your intent and actions, like we've been talking about. And then I think the way this kind of complicates that, not in a negative way, but just adds more complexity to that issue, is we get this idea of, well, yeah, you can save yourself from corruption and stay pure by, you know, being true to yourself and having that, like, alignment between what you want and what it is that you do. But there's this whole other question of, are you doing that in a vacuum and isolating yourself, or are you sharing that with others and, like, allowing yourself to be seen and to see others and kind of empower their own authenticity and sort of let the purity spread, like the kind of metaphorical version of the domain that Lords of the Land have, because it seems like part of the pain that Dezel suffered, which is, I think, kind of a mirror to what Saray went through, getting isolated and then bringing in Rose as someone who could really understand what he's going through, is this idea that Dezel really created a burden for himself by never speaking up and sharing his feelings with Rose, and then just kind of through that begetting this, like, negative, corruptive energy in the world, even though he was, like, on the inside being true to himself and therefore remaining pure of malevolence. And so I feel like his death and sacrifice and his being able to save Rose precisely by ultimately being honest with her and sharing his true self with her is a really moving testament to kind of the whole idea behind why Rose came in the first place, namely that having the right intentions and being kind of morally upright yourself is insufficient to actually even, like, uphold the nature of the world, let alone change the world for the better or save the world like the shepherd is trying to do. I think we caught everyone, right? We spoke with Mikleo and Zavid and Lila and Edna and Rose. Yes, we did it. Boy, and we got a lot to chew on along the way. Those were some really touching conversations.
Morning, Saray. Did you sleep well?
Yeah.
You don't look like it.
Yo,
Edna, a man died. Come on.
Oh, Zavid, you're still here.
Ouch. Lila, is he always this cold?
Well, it looks like everyone's here. Care to explain why you wish to enter the Sublord Pact?
No
It's also
problemo.
really touching how he's taken up
My goal is directly
Dezel's
connected
hat.
to the Shepherd's journey.
Your goal? Oh yeah, you said there were people you had to settle the score with.
Right. One of them being little Miss Edna's older brother. And the other? Mountellus.
Now tell us of the Five Lords?
The entire Glenwood continent is supposed to be under his protection, right? Except our baby boy toddled off somewhere, and right at that exact time, the Lord of Calamity shows up. Isn't that funny?
It can't be.
I didn't think it could be either. At first.
But if Mountellus really did become a Hellion and bind with Heldolf...
We'll need to confirm that's what happened. And the only way to do that is to approach him directly.
Maybe. But we need to be able to stand against Heldolf's domain, or we're sunk.
And that's where I come in. If you'll let me fill the Dezel-shaped hole in your group, together we should be strong enough. How about it? It's in all our best interests, right?
What do you believe we should do?
Saray,
Oh, what were we talking about again?
Hey, can I have the floor?
Huh?
Hey! I thought you had good to do in the world! Keep
Aw.
moping and crying, and I'll chain you up so tight you can't even breathe! That's what he said. Oh, and he asked me to kick your ass a little too while I was at it. And then I told him I'd do my best out there. And so that's why I'm damn well gonna do my best out there. Why am I crying like this?
Rose.
He was really glad he got to travel with all of you. And I didn't even notice. But in the end, he was smiling. If only I talked with him more. Oh, forget it. I'm done.
Thank you for delivering his message to us. He was a kind watchdog up until the very end.
I'll say.
Guess you'll be okay from now on, huh, Rose?
I'm okay. Are you okay?
All right, let's go.
Hold your horses! Don't I get a pack thingy?
No.
Alrighty. So, now what do we do?
Just as planned. We're heading to Glavend Basin.
since it's the place where we first met Heldolf.
Glavend Basin, huh? Here we go.
Oh man, after the most heartbreaking sidetrack in the world. Oh. I had tears in my eyes too, Rose. Wow. There's also a sad irony in there where one of the first things that Dezel told the party was that he needed to stay with Rose in order to, like, use her purity to keep himself from being corrupted and turning into a Hellion because of his quest for revenge. And in that sense, like, his love for her, if I'm reading that right and understanding it, was kind of like his reason for, like, the corruption of his spirit in the first place, but also the cure for that. If only he could have been honest with her about it earlier, I guess. And compound that with the fact that, you know, he's the spirit who, like Saray used the word watchdog, and kind of in that vein was always like around her and influencing her and supporting her in a way that like maybe she could sense, but she couldn't really see or touch or understand and communicate with him. Kind of unrequited by nature as opposed to by choice. Oof. But then, you know, talking about the difference between the tenor of the two Wind Seraphim, like I was talking about, right? I think it's it really speaks to that in kind of an inspiring way, that after all of this with Dezel, where Dezel was kind of to his own detriment, really cagey and guarded, and we now know repressive about his reasons for joining with the Shepherd in the first place, Zavid is much more straightforward about, yeah, I have goals. These are my goals. I'm going to tell everyone I want to get even with these two people. This is why. Well, I guess he was a little more opaque about why he wants to get even with Eisen, but generally speaking, much more open and straightforward and kind of self-assured than we got from Dezel. So almost just like the idea that by being in Dezel's orbit and kind of having the impact and gravity of his loss, Zavid is... I don't know if Zavid is learning from it or if his character is just sort of the perfect progression of that now, but even with the immediate replacement of the character in the party, it feels kind of logical and earned to me at this point, as opposed to something that's forced or shoehorned.
You said you'd fill in for Dezel, right?
A man never goes back on his word. Well, unless it's with the ladies.
But can you really do
Jesus.
it?
On the other hand.
You doubt me, huh? Come on, you've seen what I can do.
Yeah, but only because you practically forced it on us.
I said I was sorry. Jeez.
We get how strong you are, but what about the spiritual power of wind? You don't have to go back and get it?
Not to worry. The Shepherd takes those spiritual powers into his being. So there's nothing to worry about. Especially not with an able and handsome wind seraph like me.
All right then.
I won't let you down.
I'll see to it you don't.
I'm a little surprised. You're quite knowledgeable about spiritual powers and shepherds.
Well, I am a well-experienced grown-ass man after all. You know you can always count on me.
Somehow I'm not so sure that I can.
I know this is real sudden, but there's something I want to ask y'all so I can fit in a little better. Tell me your weaknesses.
Why would we tell you something like that?
Hey now, that's cold, Mick boy. I'll tell you mine to make it fair. On days when the temperature is low, I get cold.
Yeah, because you don't wear any clothes.
Oh, I see.
I was
how
gonna
it is.
say.
You want something juicier? Let me tell you something. If a girl starts crying, there's nothing I won't do for her.
Didn't need to know that, thanks.
You guys are tough customers. All right, try this one on for size. I'm strong against earth, but weak against fire.
We knew that.
That's no good either? Well, then here's a juicy tidbit that'll rock your world. As far as I can tell, from the waist up, Lila is...
This isn't even about weaknesses anymore.
Looks like you're fitting in just fine.
What was the end of that sentence going to be?
Hey, Zavid. I want to ask you about something you mentioned.
Oh, Is this your response to my love confession?
Don't try and weasel your way out of this. You said there was something you had to settle with my brother.
That's all there is to it, really. There's just something between us we need to settle.
And that something is?
I told him, please let me marry your little sister, and he punched me.
Brutal.
Don't lie.
Come on, he'd totally do something like that.
Fine. Don't tell me then.
No wonder he's worried about her all the time.
So what's this really about?
Did Edna's brother ask a favor from you or something like that?
Who wants to know?
Does it have something to do with the oath?
Nah, it's not that big of a deal. But even so, a promise between men is just as sacred.
Oh my goodness, we have all these skits. I guess a lot did just happen, to be fair.
It all might be too much for mere humans to bear.
I shouldn't have taken them along. Oh, it's so useless to say that now. They could have stayed home in their rooms if they didn't want to deal with it. They went out of their own accord.
Yeah, and I don't think either of them expect or want anyone to take responsibility for their being dragged into this.
Both of them seem so used to living with the Seraphim. Wonder if they were always like this.
Saray and I were raised together ever since we were just babies.
There was a time when you were a baby?
That's rude.
My bad, my bad. I'm sure you were a sweet, well-behaved little guy back in your day.
Too bad I'm not like that anymore, huh? You know, there's something I've been wondering.
Yeah, what?
You're an Earth Seraph, right? So why do you use an umbrella for a weapon? Isn't that more like a water element?
I guess I can tell you. Ready to have your mind blown? I'm using it precisely because I'm an Earth Seraph.
Huh?
You know about the dominant relationships among the elements. Earth, water, fire, and wind, right? Earth is stronger than water. Meaning that especially when using seraphic arts, you can increase your mana output by using the subordinate element as a catalyst.
What?
Just to let you know, Lila has been using wind-imbued paper, and Dezel's pendulum has been using earth and minerals as their catalysts. The staff that you've been using is fundamentally an earth element. You'd have to be a complete idiot for using something like that as a water seraph, is what I'd like to say, but I'll hold back.
But you did just say it!
Brutal.
Well, if you've been using it as a way to train yourself, or a way to incorporate physical attacks on top of seraphic arts, then you're not doing it completely wrong, at least. The longer you live, the easier it is for you to choose to do what takes the least amount of effort. But if you really aren't satisfied and want to grow stronger, then you're just going to have to do things the hard way if you want to go beyond whatever ability you were born with.
Huh.
Anyways, you've been using your staff without knowing what it's for. Good job, dummy.
All right, friends. Well, a little later than the usual stream, but I think it was worth it to put a button on that really moving sequence. Somewhere between a gut punch and a warm, ardent breeze pushing us into the next chapter of the story. So with Dezel at our backs and Zavid at our front, I guess, we will continue to forge ahead next time. It was a pleasure, as always. Thank you for bearing with me in the technical difficulties and wandering around many dungeons in search of victories and iris gems that we did not find in the beginning of the stream. But wow, what a way to return to the main story. I know I've been saying for the past few streams, I'm really excited to be getting into the part of the story that I've played fewer times and don't remember as well, but I'm starting to sort of remember some glimpses of what's coming up, especially now that we've been introduced to Simone, is the name of the Lord of Calamity's underling, right? But wow, yeah, I think there might have been just key elements of the game's story in terms of what it was trying to say that I either didn't appreciate or went over my head the first time, but especially as I'm in the middle of this Tales overload, I think it's easier to speak the language and kind of read the contours of what they're going after. So I'm excited to do that with you. I remember this game, and I think I even introduced it as at the top of this playthrough as like a very moralistically simplistic story. And while I think there are some senses in which that's accurate, I think that is definitely way more reductive than is fair, as evidenced even just by a lot of the nuances that we've been probing on this very installment with the death of Dezel and wrestling with that. And while a lot of that is reflection on what's happened in the story so far, it's evident that it's teeing up even further complexity and challenges to the Shepherd's mission. So I'm excited to face those with you, find out what the substance of this world really is all about, and what we can do to improve it, and hopefully usher in a new age and lead humanity out of the age of chaos. So, Thank you as always. If you're in the U.S., I hope you have a very pleasant and safe 4th of July tomorrow. I'll be back on the 5th of July, Wednesday, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern. As always, it is such a pleasure. I'm Aaron Suduko, the founder of With a Terrible Fate. Hopefully my voice will be a little better on Wednesday, too. Thank you for bearing with that. Game well in the meantime, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.